They flipped the building to backup power, and the emergency lights stayed dark. Elevators stalled between floors, card readers went dead, and the leasing desk was swamped with calls. 40 minutes before anyone knew what had actually happened.
Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. I'm Alex Morgan, and today we owe that 40-minute story a deeper look because too many plans only exist on paper. Joining me is Michael Harrington to talk about how you actually prove systems will work when it matters.
Thanks, Alex. That opening hits the nail on the head. Quick context. The generator started, the building thought it had power, but a transfer path had been altered and the emergency lighting circuits were out of scope. Tenants felt it immediately because that's what breaks if this goes down.
No way. So the generator wasn't the problem by itself, the dependencies were. When you use the phrase prove resilience, what does that actually look like in plain terms?
Short answer, observable, time-stamped, and end-to-end. You need concrete evidence that the path worked, from source to load, not just a technician's note saying a breaker moved.
Time-stamped, like a log entry or a photo with a clock. So you want artifacts, not anecdotes.
Exactly. Logs, dashboard captures, photos, signed checklists. And the test needs to cover the whole story. Transfer switches, UPS behavior under load, carrier routing, everything critical that your tenants depend on.
Why do systems drift out of sync like that? Is it just bad maintenance or something weirder?
Mostly hidden dependencies and stale assumptions. The docs say one thing, the building wires another. Someone reroutes a panel during a renovation, the runbook doesn't get updated, and maintenance schedules change. Over time, the map and the territory diverge.
We pulled primary fiber on a mixed-use campus once to validate failover. BGP converged, the network looked fine from a routing perspective, but phones stayed dead and the security center lost camera feeds. Why? A handful of services were still hardwired to a legacy circuit that never switched, static routes and a mispatched panel. The test exposed it immediately.
So routing looked good in a console, but physical patching hadn't been accounted for. That feels like a governance problem more than a tech problem.
Governance and ownership. If no one owns the end-to-end outcome, tests become checkbox events. A handoff without evidence is a blind bet when the outage happens.
Let's talk testing philosophy. Do you prefer live tests or tabletops? People often lean one way and ignore the other.
You need both. Tabletop exercises are great for process, communications, and mapping dependencies. Live tests are the only way to verify physical behavior. But
aren't live tests risky and disruptive? Tenants complain, critical systems could be impacted. I'm cautious here.
I hear that. But the alternative is discovering the failure during a real outage. Mitigate risk. Schedule during low-impact windows. Pre-stage rollback plans. Notify tenants. Limit scope to a single critical path. And coordinate safety permits. Small, targeted live tests reduce surprise and reveal real issues.
That seems reasonable. Still, some teams do tabletops forever and convince themselves they're resilient. We need a stronger pushback against that tendency.
Totally agree. Tabletop-only programs give you process comfort, not physical confidence. Mix them. Use tabletops to plan, live tests to validate, then document the evidence so you can justify fixes or capital spend.
Walk me through another failure mode, this time on the power side. Generators and UPS don't always behave the way owners assume.
One site had a UPS sized for immediate IT loads and a generator sized and tested under light conditions. In a real outage, the generator took longer to stabilize. UPS batteries dipped earlier than expected, and non-IT systems, strobe lights, remote access panels, dropped. The cure was either increasing UPS runtime or moving some non-critical loads off the UPS and retiming generator load transfer. Capital versus operational workaround. Both valid depending on tenant impact.
So it's a trade-off. More spend for longer runtime or tighter load segregation and acceptance of brief degradation. How should teams decide?
Define business impact first. What fails if this goes down, and for how long can you tolerate it? That determines whether you budget for better UTS, change sequencing, or alter protection scopes. Tests give you the data to make that call instead of guessing.
Okay, listeners want something they can use this week. Give me a short, practical checklist we can run during a low-impact window.
Doable. 1. Confirm ownership and sign-off from facilities and IT. 2. Pick one critical end-to-end path and write a one-sentence success criterion with a time limit. 3. Capture evidence, timestamps, logs, photos, and a responsible party signature. 4. Run a rollback and a 15-minute debrief that records actions and next steps. Repeat quarterly for critical paths.
Those 4 steps are straightforward. Quick question about results. Teams often file reports and nothing happens. How do you avoid checkbox testing?
Treat test outcomes as defects. If a test surfaces a weakness, triage it. Assign budget or an operational mitigation and track it in capital planning or your vendor SLA. Assign a single owner to close the loop. Otherwise, it languishes on a shared drive.
One last practical ask. If someone can only take 3 actions next week to start proving resilience, what are they?
Do this. 1. Run a targeted live test of one critical path during a low-impact window and capture timestamps and logs. 2. Hold a short tabletop with facilities, IT, and your primary vendors to map likely hidden dependencies. 3. Make or update a one-page checklist with acceptance criteria and assign an owner to follow up. Those steps start turning hope into proof.
If you want a fast starting point, GDS Technology has a one-page resilience test checklist in the episode notes and on their resources page. Download it, adapt it, and use it this week. Built to last, wired with intention, secured for the real world.
And a final thought. Small, frequent, evidence-based tests beat rare, grand exercises. Keep the scope tight, capture the facts, and make the results actionable. Your tenants will thank you when it matters most.
That's it for today. Thanks for listening. And thanks, Michael, for the practical guidance. Until next time, make sure the systems you're responsible for are built to last, wired with intention, and secured for the real world.